Welcome students, I am Dr. James D'Souza, Assistant Professor, St. Xavier's College, Mapsa, Goa. In today's program is for Bachelor of Science, third year, semester 5, subject Botany and paper Microbiology and Plant Pathology. The title of the unit is Applications of Microorganism, module name Role of Microorganism in Bioremediation, module number 30. Outline Types and methods of bioremediation, use of microorganism in bioremediation, and advantages and disadvantages of bioremediation. Learning outcomes, students will able to describe the types and the methods used in bioremediation. Recognizes the role of microorganism in bioremediation, and they will able to list advantages and disadvantages of bioremediation. Coming to bioremediation, it is defined as the use of biological processes to degrade, transform, and remove contaminants or toxic pollutants that impair the quality of soil and water in environmentally friendly manner. It is a natural process that relies on microorganisms capable of using contaminants as energy source to carry out their normal life processes. It is of two types: in situ bioremediation and ex situ bioremediation. Now, in situ bioremediation, the treatment of contaminant is done at its natural site or natural location, whereas in ex situ bioremediation, the contaminants are treated at other sites. In situ bioremediation, it involves treating the contaminant in the natural location. It causes minimal disturbance to environment. It is less expensive as transport of contaminated material is not needed. There are various processes in situ bioremediation like bioventing, biostimulation, biospurging, and bioaugmentation. Now, what is this bioventing? It is the most common in situ treatment, which involves supply of air and nutrients through the wells or the vents, okay, wells or vents to the contaminated soil to stimulate the growth of naturally occurring aerobic bacteria. This method is more effective in sandy soils. Biostimulation. It involves supplying oxygen and nutrients by circulating the aqueous solution through contaminated soil to stimulate the naturally occurring bacteria to degrade the organic contaminants. Biosparging. It involves injection of air under pressure below the water table to increase the groundwater oxygen concentration and enhance the rate of biological degradation of contaminants by naturally occurring bacteria. Next, we have bioaugmentation, which is also called as seeding. It involves addition of microbial inoculants which are developed in labs to contaminated sites to detoxify a particular contaminant, sometimes using genetically engineered microorganism. Now, this is the picture of in situ bioremediation. Here we can see the contaminants are there, and the addition of microorganism, nutrient, and oxygen is done through this well, injection well, and these contaminants are treated here. And after decontamination, the contaminants extracted through this well. Now, if you look at the graph here of concentration of pollutant versus the time, you can clearly see as the time increases, you can see the rate of degradation also increases. Now, ex situ bioremediation, it is also called as pump and treat method. Here, contaminated material is removed from its original site and treated elsewhere. This method is used when contaminated soil is inaccessible. It is expensive method as soil is physically removed. Different methods of ex situ bioremediation: we have land farming, composting, biopiles, and bioreactors. What is land farming? It involves spreading of contaminated soil in thin layers over the prepared bed. The soil is supplemented with nutrients, microorganism, and proper pH is maintained until the pollutants are degraded. Next, we have composting. It involves mixing of contaminated soil with soil amendments such as organic manure or agriculture waste. This organic material supports the development of rich microbial population. At high temperature, these are the characteristics of composting. Biopiles. It is a combination of land farming and composting method. It involves mixing the contaminated soil with soil amendments and spreading it in a thin layers over the prepared bed and providing conditions which are suitable for growth of microorganisms. Bioreactors. Here, contaminated soil, sediment, sludge, or soil leachate is pumped to the surface. It is mixed with water and other nutrient, agitated and treated under control condition in bioreactor to stimulate the action of microorganism. Now, there are different microorganisms which are used in bioremediation. We use bacteria, fungi, and algae. When bacteria is used, it is called as bacterial bioremediation. When fungi is used, it is called as mycoremediation. When algae is used, it is called as phytoremediation. Now we will see the uses of bacterial bioremediation. The bacterial species used to remediate contaminant sites are E. coli, which is mostly used to clean up heavy metals such as copper, cadmium, chromium, and mercury. For bioremediation to be effective, the microorganism must first enzymatically attack the pollutants and convert them to harmless product. Contaminant destruction is done by synthesis of enzymes like oxidoreductase, hydrolases, which are produced by bacteria that uses environmental contaminant as the energy source. The microbes used in cleaning up of oil spills. Marine oil spills contain complex hydrocarbons that are of great threat. The most microorganisms use this as a inoculum for seeding to break down these hydrocarbons and usually obtained from enriched culture. Through control use of genetically modified organism, this is done. Examples are Pseudomonas putida is involved in bioremediation of toluene, naphthalene. Okay, now these are petroleum product. Another example is Dachloromonas aromatica can oxidize benzene. This is a picture which shows how microorganism, that is bacteria, breaks down these oil spills of petroleum by breaking the hydrocarbon into water and carbon dioxide. Uses of fungi in bioremediation. Okay, fungi are effective in the removal of wide array of toxins from damaged environment. Examples are Fusarium species, Aspergillus, and Candida glabrata are used in degradation of crude oil. Aspergillus niger mycelium can be absorb silver from effluents. Aspergillus oryzae is used to remove cadmium from the effluents. Uses of algae. Algae are capable of absorbing heavy metals. Example, Chlorella vulgaris is used to remove uranium from seawater. Sargassum natans is also used to absorb cadmium and lead from the effluents. Now, what are the advantages of bioremediation? In situ bioremediation is acceptable method as there is less disruption of contaminated environment when compared to cleanup methods. Bioremediation is useful for complete destruction of wide variety of contaminants. It is safe as residues are usually harmless. There are some disadvantages of bioremediation. Now, this process of bioremediation is sensitive to level of toxicity and environmental condition for microbial growth and the activity in the field. Field monitoring is difficult in this bioremediation. In certain cases, incomplete breakdown of organic contaminants may result in toxic byproducts. Coming to summary, Bioremediation is a technique that employs biological processes to clean up the toxic contaminant. Microbial community are fundamental components which play critical role in biodegradation of contaminants. Bioremediation can be done by in situ or ex situ method depending on nature of the contaminant. The methods employed should be cost effective and environmental friendly. These are my references, additional references from the web. Thank you very much.